overwhelmed with emotions. So I took this fire and I burned it again. And it helped. It helped me to let go of the fire within myself. So maybe it's a good idea to use this. It works like magic. Okay. Let's wait another 2 minutes. And then begin with the lesson. Hello, Bonnie. How are you? Good. Hello, Abby. Hello, Elizabeth. I was very happy to hear what you said to me today. Even very, very happy. Elizabeth will come to the Portugal retreat. I'm very happy for that. Now, because in Portugal, it's close to Canada, so Rene can come and Abby can come. It's halfway from Israel, halfway from Canada. I think it's around 6 hours flight, something like this. Okay. Robin. Hello, Petrina. You look like a married woman. Cooking. Okay. So let's begin. It's already 5 minutes. As I told you last lesson, I will continue saying it today, that now when we have this short course as well, so every Wednesday I'm teaching both 2 lessons, one after the other. So this is one of the reasons, not the only reason. I thought it would be great for you to take the second lesson of the teacher's course. So we'll share it with you. I will teach the first lesson and one of you will teach the second lesson. And today is going to be Petrina. Yes, Petrina. Who's going to be next week?
Next week
Abby.
is Abby. And then is Charlotte. So I would like to ask you, the ones who are here, and then I will put in the group as well, if you can write your date in the group instead of sending each one sending privately to me. It is better if you all write in the group so that everyone can see the dates, and they will not be the same. So I will write the ones that we have next, so then you can decide your best time. Okay, thank
Great.
you.
So today we're going to finish. We'll never finish it, but today I will say some things about the wild path. If you remember, from future imagery to future emergence, walking on the wild path to our desired future. And first of all, I want to ask you, before we go on, it's kind of a marketing question, but I think it has to do also with the S souls. I wrote a book. The name of the book is Future Intelligence. And now I'm going to talk about future emergence. And the question, if I should put everything under future intelligence or just name all the lessons from the basic course to the teacher's course from now on as future emergence. What do you think? Before I tell you what is it all about, yes, but just from your feelings. What do you say, Anna Maria? Okay, who wants to say something about it? Yes, Elizabeth.
So, as always, I just have questions, but my question is, I like the word emergence, but does everybody really understand what it is?
Hopefully it will be at the end of this lesson.
No, I mean sort of like, anybody who comes across a video. I
I
just
don't know.
wondered. No, I just wondered that.
This is the question. I'm afraid people will not understand.
I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, Petrina.
I love the word emergence. I feel like intelligence, for me, that's more of a head thing. Emergence feels like the whole person coming forward.
Yes,
So,
but the question if I can share it with other people, because
yes.
yes, I'm sure that this is going to be our path now. And okay, we'll talk about it today, and then we'll say yes, Abby.
What if you switched it around and put it like emerging future?
I don't know English enough to say if it's better or not.
I think, well, in English it's fine, but if it's like people know what future is, people have an idea what intelligence is. And like you said, not everybody understands emerging, but I think if you put it in front, it kind of pulls you forward into the future.
Okay, thank you. I will think about it. I will see what I feel. At the end is always like connecting heaven and earth and bringing it in a way that people can understand. Yes, Rene, you want to say something?
Well, I feel I'm just a being who's becoming. So I don't know if I resonate with emergence, but my explanation is I think we're all human beings who are becoming. And then because of free choice, are we choosing love or are we choosing fear? I don't know. Thanks.
Okay, I will let it come. So what is all this emergence? Emergent beings, okay? What is all about? What is the wild person I'm talking about? So we're giving you two lessons already. Today will be hopefully the last lesson, so maybe I will finish to share with you my experience, my feelings, which is not so easy when it comes to the words that we try to use words to explain ourselves. And we are not sure that this explanation is clear. But we'll talk about it today and we'll see how we see it. And we'll also have time to meditate on it. Okay. So just quick understanding or look on what happened until now. If you remember, this is the wild path. I will not go into it now again. And now we're talking about the four emotional dimensions. Sorry, four dimensions of SGLA, which is emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual. And we'll begin again with this chart and go on a little bit just to explain what it's all about. And to give you an essence, what I see, which is very hard to define, is this fine line between what we want and what want to come. So always when we say I want, means my I. When I say I, it means my ego, it means myself, but not only the ego. And the question is, what is the difference between I want or I'm ready to see what wants to come, which is quite easy to define. But when we do it practically all over our life, for me, it's not easy to define where I want or where I'm surrendering to what wants to become. It sounds simple, but it's not for me. So the question is, if I'm ready to surrender to what wants to become, to come or to become, so my will has not any kind of role to play in this game. And when my will is not there, why bother? Maybe we just live our lives as simple as that, without this, sorry for the word, mind fucks, so just go on life. And what will come, will come. So this is kind of a fine line that we have to clarify. I have to clarify to myself. And let's see how it comes together. I'll begin with you. Those of you who really feel they know not only logically the difference, but to tell when they are ready to surrender to what and their will is not there, or they are captive by the will and they are not ready to see what wants to become, raise your hands. Those who see it clearly, what is this and what is that. Okay, I see Abby, I see Robin, I see Katrina half. I didn't raise my hand because sometimes I'm confused. Sometimes I'm projecting the best future I want on my inner mirror, I would say. And when I'm projecting it on my inner mirror, and I'm doing something to make it happen, then I'm not surrendering to what wants to become. And it's a great question for me. I will go on with the charts, but I want all of us to think about it, what it means, and what we should do. Maybe the answer is in between, or both. You know this sentence that says life happens while you are planning your plans. And what I want to do, usually, what I did all my life, I think, was to plan my plans, to project them on the future, and then let go. And then see what is coming back to us. It's a question. I will leave it like with a question mark and we'll come back together. Promise you are okay. Whenever you come, you are most welcome. In 17 minutes, in Judaism, 17 is the number of good. There are three letters, and the number of this letter is good. So wherever you come, it's good. Okay, let's go on and see what wants to come in the chart. So I was talking about it last lesson. So in the emotional dimension, the wild path is the willingness to feel without being consumed. So it gives us kind of an answer for what I asked, but not total answer. And it's not suppression. I'm not putting my will on the future, fighting with the future. You know the law of attraction. When you say, I want to be rich, just to say these words sometimes can bring the opposite, because you are fighting with something within you, within your reality, that doesn't work, and you want to do a change or transformation within it. And then you get from existence kind of resistance. So those who don't want to get resistance from existence have to see that the main thing is, the main solution is to be present, totally present. And then existence takes care. And then we're talking about the mental dimension, and we're talking about what's going on in the brain, the neuroplasticity, and the brain doesn't distinguish between imagination and lived experience. And then we said that future patterns can begin to imprint now. Then we open ourselves to begin the imprint now, which means at the end that I'm surrendering, that I am totally just surrendering myself and looking inside me what wants to happen, what wants to come. In the consciousness dimension, we're talking about the sacred witness, as we are already trained and know, and the space beyond the story, which is actually at the end of the day, this is what we are doing. I know my name is Shlomo Shom, I have a story about myself, and I have to be able to go beyond the story of myself. And each and every one of you. And I love this last sentence that says, this is where choice is born. The moment I'm present totally in any dimension of this form, at that moment, I have the freedom to choose. I can choose to be here or there. And the moment I have the freedom to choose, at that very moment, I'm getting more close to creating my desired future out of my way or what I want to happen from myself. Wait a moment, until now, do you understand what I said? It's clear. Okay.
The only thing for me is when you say this is where choice is born, and what I've come to understand is I can only choose for me. And the struggle that I have and what you were saying before is I can't choose for my kids as much as I want to. I can only choose for me.
That's right. Today, my son had a very important exam. And last night he was not able to sleep and all these kind of things. When he went to the university, I was like a father, worrying a little bit, tensed a little bit. Remember all the exams I have to pass in my life. And I hate exams. Even when I was a teacher for many years in the university, I said to my students all the time that exams are humiliating. Like you put people on the pedestal, not pedestal, on this road together, and you tell them begin to run, those who will be first will get better marks, etc., etc. But instead of worried or being there, all what I did was a meditation to see him in the best situation at that very moment. And then the cord between us, I imagined this cord enough time, is more than 30 years old. This cord is just separating in the middle, and he has his own cord, I have my own cord, and there is kind of a more normal, I would say, relationships, not so pathological. Yes, but we are talking just about ourselves, just about ourselves. So the question is, Abby Schuster is imagining her desired future and doing all the work we did, connecting to her future self and all these things, or just sitting passive and wait for the emergence to come, to see what is going to emerge in her future. So the answer is in between, but just to see and to make clear the difference. Let's go more, because I want to do also the meditation today and explain more. This I love. It's very clear and simple. Why wild? This AI asked me actually, when I said I want to go for the wild path of SGLA, why wild? And the answer is because creating a new future requires the courage to make mistakes. And this is based on what I wrote in my book and also in my teachings. And then the willingness to lose an old identity, this is part of the challenges. I know Abby, I know what I think about Abby, I know how it feels to talk to Abby, I know how her glasses looks like, or whatever, or her hair, or everything else. So what I'm training is to be willingness to lose her old identity. Otherwise, she's stuck in my mind somewhere and she's not moving. And this is for sure important, but it's also much more important to do it for myself. The moment I see myself as those, this and this and this and that, and I know I have to let go of the old images, and I'm doing the work, this is, in my point of view, the most effective and efficient way to create your desired future. Am I clear? Okay. And then we say the readiness to stand in uncertainty, which is kind of a paradox, because we know that we always stand in uncertainty. All what we think that we can control the future is a maya, it's an illusion. We cannot control the future. So we are standing in uncertainty all the time. The question is if we are accepting it and relaxing, or we are fighting against it and create a lot of tension around ourselves. Now what is written here, it's like culture teaches compliance, wellness teaches creation. So the way I see it, that the future comes only when you are ready to create it. And the moment you are ready to create it means that you are able to let go of all the old definitions, of the old pattern. And only then I can really go for the future. So remember this, culture teaches compliance, wildness teaches creation. This is very important. Now comes the formal exercise. You should take it and have it with you when you are teaching. I'll just put it here. It's not totally the way I do it, but it's just kind of an idea. This I got from part of the connection of my book and AI. So it says here, that we have to begin by physical pause, take a deep breath, and then identify the survival field, and where in the body is there contraction, and then what fear is managing me right now. This is the way that I saw it as a beginning. We have to begin from the fear. I'm not sure it's true, but the way I see it here, and I'll explain, is it's not about the future. In order to create the future, I have to bring it here and now and see what stops me. What are the fears that I'm not ready to go beyond? And the moment I'm there and I'm focusing totally on the fears that are there, at that very moment, I can go on to go out of the survival mode, survival field. Because when I'm in the survival field, doesn't matter if it has to do with money or something else, I'm stuck. And when I'm stuck, I cannot create the desired future. I don't see clearly the future, and I'm more captive by the fear, and I would say the fear is leading me. And then no desired future happening. But what I have to do is to let go of it and come to be present here and now. And then I'm asking the question, what fear is managing me right now? And then the answer can be easier. Not all the time, sometimes it's even more difficult, but it makes it easier. Okay? Until here you're with me? Okay. I don't see all of you. I'll show the next chart and then we'll talk a little bit in a minute. These are the steps 3 and 4 of this process, I would say, the way I created it. The first thing here is to move into the space of consciousness. What it means, how you move there, this is something else to understand, but we're already talking a lot about it. So the moment I'm ready to step into the space of consciousness, I have to ask a very crucial question. Who I am without this story. I'm sharing with you my story, but now imagine for a moment I don't have any story. So who I am? Am I Shlomo? Maybe not. Am I from Israel? Maybe not. Am I a friend of Petrina? Maybe not. I don't know. So the moment I'm ready to put all of this on this carriage that takes me to the future, I'm ready to let go totally of the situation. And this is very important. Because most of the time when I ask you, who are you and what do you want? You look back to your life and you say, I'm so and so and so and so. But what I say, who are you, what do you want, and where are you going? I mean something much more clear on one hand, practical on the other hand, and less spiritual, I would say. I want first to connect to the ground. And then I'm looking inside myself, like narrative psychology, and I'm asking myself, what is that I see in my future imagery? And then I have to let go of all what I see and create something new that comes from inside. Because as long as I am managed by my memories, sometimes knowingly or not knowingly, sometimes not knowingly, at that very moment I'm ready to go beyond. At that very moment I'm ready to see beyond what happened, ready to let go of all what happens and to go beyond. And then comes the 4 dimension, the 4 question, 4 process. As I said, I have to create my future wild imagery, not just imagery. And I have to create a leap of consciousness because I don't want to go to the future with kind of a movement or improvement, as he says here, me as a teacher, from what I know on myself as a teacher. This will not work. And then I have to be able to look at success and let go of success. If you remember, I quoted you once something from Jacob Raz, Professor Jacob Raz. Professor Jacob Raz was talking about pain, but I'm now taking it from pain to success. When all what I do, I'll give you an example for myself. When I am as SGLA teacher, let's say, and all what I do is to create success within SGLA, that SGLA will be very successful, it will not work. It's like the law of attraction I told you before. I'm pushing something that I want to happen, but I'm pushing it with power and I get resistance. When I'm ready to let go of the imagining of success, at that very moment, something very deep happens in the creation itself. Because I'm not going somewhere because I want success, and I'm not pushing myself or others to work harder or to do something because I want success, but I go beyond. I go to the deepest meaning, as he says, deeper meaning, as he says. When I'm looking inside and I see my deeper meaning, at that very moment, something very crucial changes. And what changes is that I'm acting out of my meaning and I'm not captive of the need to be successful. I don't have to be successful. All what I have to do is to see the path within me, to go with it totally all the way. This is the wilderness. And then you see what I'm teaching. Most of the time, it's not survival, but creation. So I'm not acting out from survival mode that I don't have enough money or enough success or enough recognition or enough whatever. And I want to have more and I go there and doing it. This will not work. What works is that I'm creating my desired future. And I'm putting the picture of my creating my desired future. I look inside and I see how I can connect my hara, my womb, to other people who are ready to come and teach. Yes. This is until this very moment. Any questions? Hello, Yanni, welcome. Okay. So let's go on a little bit about the next. I'm looking inside and I see that I'm yawning, and there is something within me. Maybe it could be because I'm tired. I didn't sleep a lot this tonight, but there is something within me when I'm like this that I'm looking forward. What is the veil that is in front of my eyes? I have to go beyond something, because when there is a veil, I go backward and I lose energy, and I find myself fighting with myself for the future. So wherever you as a teacher come to this situation, now we'll go beyond because we'll do meditation and then we'll go beyond. But when you see yourself, you can stop and be honest and say, something happens to me. Yes, Elizabeth.
I just wonder if we could ask ourselves, can we trust and have courage to let the future emerge through us? Because the words we're using are It's like our story is the structure that we are using to function. Otherwise, we would just be a blob of energy. It's be difficult to function. It's kind of the tool.
We have to look inside and see something very crucial.
Yes.
If within ourselves, what we want to create, and we have the power to create, is to create our desired future, as we're doing it like until now, meditating, or the more we will let go, the more will come. To put our intention, this is important anyway, but then to let go. And as I said at the beginning, it's a fine line, because I'm sure that we have to use future imagery to create our desired future, first of all, to understand what we want. Because if you go there and you say, God help me, and God comes to you and say, yes, my son, I'm ready to help you. What do you want from me? And you say, I don't know, this will not work. So we have to connect to our will, to our future imagery. But then the question begins, if then we have to let go totally and see what wants to emerge, and for sure to see how God want to bring it us practically. Yes, Robin and then Isabel.
Okay. I'm practicing what you had said about making my base wider to contain myself because I was getting so excited and so many ideas were coming to me through this lesson. So with a wide base, first I want to talk to what Elizabeth just said because I understand completely. That's how I've operated my whole life. Our story, using our story as information. But the problem is with that is we create these assumptions, and we should never create these assumptions based on what we've already experienced. If we're coming from an open heart, we're coming from the remembrance of this was not that. Yes, that is a possibility, but so is this. I can choose. And this is the trust you talked about. We trust in ourselves. And we know that we can make the right choice because we've got our own backs. That's what just came to me. So I don't know if that resonates in any way.
I hear you very, very good, but I don't understand at all. So,
well, Elizabeth was saying that, I'm assuming, she was saying our story, we've been acting based on our stories because it informs us. Our stories inform us. Is that correct, Elizabeth? So, but we're learning here not to come from our stories. Even though it's information, we're not to make assumptions about future happenings based on what happened in the past. We can have the knowledge of possibility and do the preventative things, but we also can know that it can be much better and envision much better and leave the story of the past behind and not allow that to inform our future behavior. That's what I'm gathering.
I will clarify myself.
Thank you, because I need clarification, but you get me, so I
hopefully let's pray together that I will be able to do it.
Okay, but I did have a couple of other things I wanted to touch on, but let's stay here for a minute while you clarify.
Very good. Yes, Carmen. When I was a judge, and when you're a lawyer and the judge is a bit stupid, he doesn't understand you, you will never say, sorry, judge, you don't understand me. So I have to apologize. I didn't clarify myself. And then you say to the judge. So when lawyers told me, sorry, I have to clarify myself, I know that they think that I'm stupid. But I didn't I understand them anyway. I'm bringing few things together, and it feels good, this lesson, because I feel that in this lesson we are going through something which is not totally clear, but it's, for me, it's really coming together. And because you are my family, I'm bringing it sometimes unripe. Sure, we have to let go of the past. We have to create our desired future out of the future, as we learned. Sure, when you are going to the wild path means that I'm taking care very carefully not to bring the past to the future. On one hand. On the other hand, sometimes things that happen in the past are also okay to take them to the future if they're good things. It doesn't mean that everything that happened in the past was bad. But when we are talking about emergence, we are leaving a space for what wants to come that maybe we don't know it. The moment that we are taking the courage to go to walk into the unknown, then we are giving a space to something else to come to the future, which is something which is unknown. So it's not a contradiction, but it's something else that is also another component in creating our desired future. This is the way I see it. So I know it's kind of talking all the time with the mind in a way, but I feel that it really makes sense. So when I'm creating my desired future, what I do, few things. First of all, I say to myself, I'm ready to go beyond all my plans. And as we learn about backcasting, if you remember, that I see the future and I get the calling from the future. I have to know by doing that and jumping totally to my what we call imagination or imagery, we have to let go of all the control. On one hand, we want to see it, but we cannot control it, because if you try to control it, you create mess, and you know the law of attraction and all this, what I said before. So for me, it's this and that. On one hand, I have to create my desired future. I have to sketch it. I have to see what wants to come. I have to see what I want to come. And then I have to let go and see what wants to come. And I totally believe that what I want to come, the moment I'm totally there, I can create it, at least in my imagination, to know what I want to happen. And then to be able to let it to existence and to see what wants to come. And together, this will make my desired future. This is the way I see it.
I think that's it exactly, because that's what the situation is.
Yes.
We know what our past and what happened was, and we have that information, but we relinquish control in new situations where we say, okay, yes. And then we come from the original teachings of SGLA, where we open our hearts to what wants to come next without thinking that it's tightening our bodies, going into fight or flight and resistance, thinking, oh boy,
That for sure. Yes.
that next shoe is going to drop. That next shoe, you know what I mean? It's and allow it to be different and allow ourselves to choose differently. I think that's the trick.
Okay.
And really fast, what was coming to me before about what you were talking about emergence or intelligence. I love the word emergence. I love everything Renee and Patrina said about the word emergence. But the intelligence thing is a very interesting word, because we have that whole trend of artificial intelligence. Screw that. This is future intelligence, FI, or future imaging, FI. And we can incorporate that somehow. But in the slides, the one about presence giving us a space to choose, that's a space Viktor Frankl talks about. in his quote about in between stimulus and response is that space where we choose, right?
Okay.
And yeah.
I will stop here. I'm sorry for that. Elizabeth, I know that you wanted to say something, but we don't have much time and we have to give the floor to Petrina. So let's put our feet on the ground and look inside ourselves. Let's take a deep breath. But now I want to wake myself up. So I want to wake all of us together. What we will do now, we'll do kind of a Kapalabhati, but with the sound. So we are working with our belly muscles. We make a Buddha belly, and then I contract it. And again and again and again, 108 times. This will bring a lot of energy to me and to you. And then I hope clarity will come. So I put my feet on the ground and I let go of my belly. You know, all the time when you do sports or when you go to gym, they are telling you hold your belly inside because this is more nice according to the fashion thing. Now I want you to let go of your belly. Let it out, but contract it and go on with me together. I hope you will hear me well. If not, I'll change the setting here. What I'm doing goes like this, like ha, 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 ha. Okay, let's do it 108 times. 1, 2, 3 together. Wow. Huh, 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 huh. Stop. Take a deep breath and let go. Now you feel the energy comes from the ground to your body, and you take it in and in and in, and you hold it for a moment. No breath in, no breath out. Now I want you to look at the sky from within. And before we are imagining our desired future, I want you to see a huge ring in the sky. And you are not active, you are just very passive now. And you totally relax and you totally receive and contain the desired future that will come to you. And then you see a huge ring in the sky and you see your desired future comes to you right here, right now. And all what I want you to do is to look at it very carefully. To say to yourself or to existence, Please bring it to me. I'm ready to listen or to hear. Yes, and give it a time to see what wants to come, that's all. Imagine yourself in the best situation that you can be. Imagine yourself feel happy and relaxed and fulfilled and sustained. Yes, yes. And as simple as that, imagine yourself standing on the edge of all your life until this very moment. And just watching, like the sacred watcher, what is coming to your life now. What are the building blocks for your next 7 years? Yes. And all what I want you to do is to be like the watcher, if you want to, the writer of the report. Just write down what do you see comes to you from your desired future and makes your life marvelous. Yes. And all what we want to do, not to go to any shortcuts. We are ready to do the work, to make it authentic, special, full of love. Yes. And slowly, slowly, just let the files come into your body, come into your brain. Yes. That's it. And that's all. See what is all around you. And slowly, slowly, I want you to put your feet on the ground, to connect to the ground. Come down to your chair, but you may come totally different, totally transformed. So I'll count to 5, and then I want you to feel connecting heaven and earth. 1, 2, yes. Slowly, slowly, you let go of your head, you look at the ground. Slowly, slowly, you can open your eyes and look at the ground. Slowly, slowly, you raise your head to the screen and you write down in the chat What did you see? Don't judge it. Whatever came to you, give it a space. And write also if it is something new, it comes to you now that you didn't see it before, or if there is a new niche, or maybe not. It's also okay. What did you see? Yes. If it's something new, tell me. Thank you, Anna Maria. Maybe when you say imagine being, you saw something new that you didn't see before.
No, that was in response to what Renee was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Elizabeth, thank you. Thank you, Robin. Okay, Ari. The delivery truck came to you or came out of you?
I saw it at the bottom of my driveway. Huge, huge truck.
Okay. Elizabeth, she's all the time African. Thank you, Bonnie. Thank you, Isabel. Elizabeth. Thank you, Annie. Yes, promise. Are you transparent? I would say many things about you, but I will not say that you are transparent. But this is my point of view. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Petrina. Thank you, Petrina. Yes. Charlotte. Thank you, Charlotte. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you, Anna Maria. Okay, we knew it all the time. Now, at last it came from the wilderness. Wow, Isabel. Nice. Okay, my dear friends. This is recorded. You can do it at home. And let's see what's going to happen. Until next week, I will meet you again. And I hope until there, things will be much more clear for me. And now I'll give the floor to Petrina. Petrina, the floor is yours. Isabel will be in charge.
This is not my preferred thing to do. I feel kind of like it's a final exam. So I was relating to your son when you were talking, Shlomo. Um, so I have chosen today. I had attempted to share my PowerPoint of my David Hawkins presentation previously and wasn't able to do it. So I'm hoping to be able to do it today successfully. Um, and from that stance, I'm kind of dedicating this to Robin because she keeps saying she wants me to do it. So I'm going to do it. Um, um, David Hawkins was somebody who I really didn't know about before about 5 years ago. Um, People kept telling me I needed to read Power versus Force, and I didn't do it. For whatever reason, it didn't resonate with me. And then about 5 years ago, I decided to read Power versus Force. And it was just a really huge awakening for me. I highly recommend it if you haven't read it. Um, and after reading that, he had, I don't know, he was quite prolific in his writings, and I read all his books. I got obsessed with him, I will say. Um, his The reason I'll just start with why he resonated with me so much. He was had a very successful psychiatric practice in New York City in the 70s. And that was a time when I lived in that area. I was also very much into the mental health field. That's something that's been my life passion through my life. And just the fact that he was a psychiatrist, kind of like, ooh, okay, that's cool. And then I learned that he was an alcoholic in recovery, and he'd gotten sober around that time. Maybe I'm not sure about the exact dates, but he was a friend of Bill Wilson's, and Bill Wilson was the starting point of the 12-step program of AA. And so that was another connection where it was like, oh, okay, there's a thing with alcoholics is sometimes, and this was more so back previously in my life where I felt like people didn't really understand me unless they'd been through what I'd been through. I mean, a fellow alcoholic, you resonate in a certain way in recovery. It just is. There's a depth of pain and desperation that is I'm unable to put into words. Then the rest of it was he was into A Course of Miracles. And A Course of Miracles was part of my spiritual program within AA. So that was more resonance with him. So that's my love of David Hawkins. He used applied kinesiology, which is muscle testing, he initially called it truth versus falsehood. I think in his later years, he got away from labeling it like that because I think he saw that as more dualistic. And it was more, he used the muscle testing to align with higher consciousness. Bonnie would say, aligning with our blessed higher self. I really like that. So he would use the kinesiology is using muscle testing. And at the end of this, I show several different ways to do it. But it's basically using yes, no questions. So making a statement such as, I'll just say, my name is Francis. And if I did muscle testing, he used somebody else's arm to do it. So if I was using somebody else's arm and I said, my name is Francis, their arm would go weak. But if I say, my name is Katrina, their arm would stay strong. So he used this for thousands and thousands of statements, and that's how he developed his map of consciousness. And I think he's probably best known for his map of consciousness. from 0 to 1,000. I mean, actually, it's up to 10,000, 50,000. But using yes, no statements to assign numbers to particular conditions, people, whatever, and I'll show you that with my PowerPoint. Actually, okay, so if I could share the screen, if I can screen share with this. Here's hoping I can do it. Share.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes.
Hold on. Okay, let me see if I can get to it. Okay. Yay, I think I'm going to be able to do it. Come on. Okay. So this is just the basic map of consciousness. Okay, and I liked this visual because it shows how, and Shlomo had referred to it with his teaching today, how fear contracts us, you know, and that's when we're in fear, we are not, if you look at this as energy available, when we're in fear and we're contracted, then we don't have available energy to function. So, I mean, if you think about a time maybe when you've been scared of something and how your kind of your visual field shrinks and you're just thinking about that one situation and just hard to see past that. That's the level of fear at 100. So that's very low on the scale. As we have courage to move forward, then we get to 200. And that's that courage to move forward. And I think again that was part of Shlomo's teaching about the courage to go into the unknown wild area. And then acceptance. And he has that the expanded consciousness, only about 15% of the population experiences this. Now, this was done back in the 80s and 90s, and I imagine that expanded, there's more people with an evolution of consciousness that's going on currently that probably this percentage has shifted somewhat. But that's just my thought. Okay, so okay, so this is more detailed scale of it. I have to put my glasses on to see. So you can see where shame and guilt are even a lower consciousness than fear. So those of us who have, you know, that guilt, I mean, despair, hopelessness, that our consciousness is just, you know, not in a good place. I don't know how else to say it, but and then it goes on up, and it's interesting to me that fear and anxiety are lower on the scale than anger, but I'm thinking of like I'm blanking on her name, but you know, anger, we get energy.
Esther
We get
Hicks.
exactly, Esther Hicks, thank you. The anger, we can use the anger to move forward if we harness it, if we harness that energy. And then pride, that was one that was kind of like a huh to me. But what I realize is pride is a separation. Like, oh, I'm so proud of myself. That's a separation from the higher consciousness. I think a lot of what I've come to with this is using it to align myself with for me in recovery, it was higher power, which now that concept has expanded for me, my definition of higher power. But that neutrality, you know, at 250 of just like, okay, I'm not going to label things good or bad or right or wrong. I'm just going to be neutral about things. And then you can go on up. You can see how that goes to willingness, acceptance, and then the importance of forgiveness, and reason is up in the 400s, and that would be the abstract thinking. Okay, the going with the reasoning. And he talked about in some of his writings, like Einstein was like at 499 in his work. And the love could be right there in it. It's right there in it, but maybe not quite yet. And then the joy and peace. Joy at 540 is unconditional love. Now, I think very few of us can really stay in this high consciousness all the time. I mean, I know just in sharing this right now, I've got some fear going on, a little bit of anxiety. So that affects my consciousness, right? So anyway. So these are some of the he called it calibrations when he did his kinesiology. I'm sorry, but I cannot pronounce these things. But you find what speaks to you on, whoops. Oh, I wanted to go back on that. I'm sorry, I went too fast. I don't know how to return. Anyway, I find it interesting. The Course of Miracles was at 600, and the 12-step AA program. I highly recommend checking out the steps, because the steps correlate beautifully with what Isabel was teaching last week at her teaching last week. The 12 steps, I feel like they're inspired. They're a wonderful spiritual teaching, and that's at the level of 540. The workbook of A Course of Miracles is at 600. And then I can't see the Kabbalah because I don't know how to, I just have people's pictures right there. But you can see how you can see these higher teachings, and the I've tended to really focus on these, because to me, again, it's an alignment, wanting to be aligned with that higher power. And here's more of looking at love at 500, unconditional love, enlightenment, and on up. I love it. The archangels are at 50,000. So just imagine the energy of an archangel. And Christ and Buddha at 1,000 plus, Krishna, Brahm, that I just think about that of when these people were on Earth, and their auras and the intense energy that of love that must have surrounded them and just surrounded the Earth. Yeah. I don't want to go too fast. Okay, this is a level of consciousness timeline. And I got this from a place called Focused Life Force Energy. They do a lot of kinesiology. And we can see back in the time of, say, Christ, when Christ was born, the level of consciousness of the earth, on the earth, was 100. And going back to that other scale, so the level of consciousness was a lot of fear, a lot of anger. I mean, well, anger is above 100, a lot of fear. Okay. And then as a very slow evolution over time, you can see the Inquisition is under 200. Gosh, I wish I could, I can't get rid of these. I can't see beyond. But then around 1960, so then it went along under 200. And it looks like from 1967, there was a rapid increase in the level of consciousness in the world. Up to, and again, I can't see the dates, but it did go over 200 at one point.
We
My,
can see the dates.
pardon?
We can see the dates here
Oh, okay, I can't see it.
because
Um,
you know.
yeah. Apparently it's the level of consciousness in the world today is hovering right around 200, which actually makes a lot of sense when we think about what's going on the earth right now. You know,
Katrina, I can ask you, how did they measure it?
again, using kinesiology.
Okay.
Okay. So it would be the level of consciousness is at 200. The, uh, the level of consciousness at 199. Level of consciousness 198. However, to use the muscle testing. And they get a group of people, so there's a
So just to
consensus.
understand, let's say that I'm talking to you and I want you to imagine the date of birth of Jesus, and then I see the muscle testing
Yes.
because we cannot go back in kinesiology.
I
Okay.
would hold it in the person asking the question holds it in their consciousness,
Yeah.
makes the statement, yes or no statement, does the muscle testing.
Okay.
Of interest, the muscle testing does not work if a person has a level of consciousness below 200. Okay. So the person doing the muscle testing has to be in alignment with higher consciousness. Okay. I kind of find that interesting. Okay. So then this is just a way of aligning it with the chakras. Um, and I think that's why we have to. One of the things when I first talked to Shlomo, one of the times I talked to him was I was feeling a lot of shame about my financial situation, and he says, "What would David Hawkins say about shame?" Because that's that root chakra, and that's a lot of the work we're doing. It seems now is clearing that and letting go of that. And again, coming on up to the courage to move forward, the and the acceptance and the love. Okay, so you can see this. The next one is kind of similar. It's flipped over but I just liked it, so I included it. So where the dense survival energies are, but this is where healing, grounding, and that feeling of being safe. And I think the inherited fear he mentioned, and I think that's our the people who came before us, that we a lot of times there's ancestral fear that we can't necessarily identify, but it's there, and with the work we're doing, we're also healing that. And then this goes on and it talks about the the correlation with unprocessed grief and things like that, personal personal attachment, the emotional volatility where I would get triggered by something from trauma. That would be my that I can never pronounce that sacral place, the solar plexus, the courage, okay, and then the heart that opens and flowers in love, okay. And again, many spiritual teachings emphasize this as the gateway to higher realms. The throat, speaking truth and alignment. Okay, as we stabilize in love, we express and create from that field. As our chakras resonate, in other words, if I'm just living in fear, then I am actually in the in the field of fear. Okay, these resonates with different areas of the field. And the third eye with the intuition, and then the crown of the complete surrender to the divine. And again, like Shlomo was talking about, the loss of individual identity and the unity consciousness. Okay, and this is our pathway to peace, to the emergence, to our desired future. Okay. Okay, then there's the spiritual ego, which I found this very interesting. Um, so you can kind of see he says it's the most difficult and treacherous of all to overcome. Okay, our spiritual ego assumes its own enlightenment. So this next slide will say more. It's the subtle, so in other words, if I perceive, oh, I'm really doing well with my spiritual work. I'm I'm advancing and enlightened and all of this. That's part of the spiritual ego, which actually separates us from those higher states. It's very, very subtle. Okay. And you may have run into people who it's there's an element of pride and judgment in it. And again, we've talked in this class about wanting to let go of judgment, wanting to transcend judgment, how judgment can really keep us from those areas of love and unconditional love that I imagine everybody, I mean, I know that that's what I want, you know. So this is sort of self-explanatory. It's if I feel superior to somebody else rather than one with somebody else, that's a separation, right? I only say, well, Shlomo's right, nobody else is right. I'm not going to listen to anybody else. That would be maybe a rigid attachment. I hadn't really thought about it like that, but I mean, and bless you, Shlomo. I'm attached, not attached, you know what I'm saying. Okay, so if we feel like we're superior or special, the A Course in Miracles says nobody's special, but we're all special, right? And these are from these books that he wrote. I already had said that. The mind that believes it is spiritual has fallen into a subtle trap of the ego. The real self is silent, humble, and without self-definition. And again, that goes back to what Shlomo was teaching today, to let go of our identity, which is challenging. Okay, so I wanted to include in this, he wrote a book called Letting Go. And this is from his work as in service. And it was his process of letting go, and it's focused on the emotional part. Okay. So letting go is the surrender of inner resistance to emotions. And again, this is actually kind of perfect timing because it's allowing feelings to arise without judgment, suppression, or outward expression. The goal is emotional freedom and alignment with higher states of consciousness. So this is the mechanism that he identified. There might be a trigger or an event, and we have I'll just speak for myself. I'd have an emotional reaction to it. So what he says is to witness the feeling. That's the witnessing of it, without trying to stop it or get in its way, but just allow it to be. Allow yourself to feel it fully and to be present with it. And that's the practice of presence. Okay. Again, sometimes it's a challenge to do, but it's the key to presence. So the practice is you bring an emotion to mind, you welcome it without resistance. You don't try to change it. I'm pretty knowledgeable in cognitive behavioral psychology, and I would get feelings, and then I would want to change my thoughts to change the feeling. What he's saying is don't try to change it, just let it be and stay with the sensation. And if we stay with the sensation, it will dissolve, and then peace comes. The common blocks to letting go: suppression, when we push down the feeling, he defines repression as unconscious denial. It's like saying, oh, I'm not really feeling like that. It's interesting because my mother used to tell me, I'd say, oh, I'm feeling angry. And she'd say, no, you're not. So it's kind of like my mother was my denial system. Expression of it. So again, this might be a little bit different than what Shlomo teaches as far as expressing the anger and he sees that as venting without resolution. So we want to allow ourselves to just feel it and be present for it. Escaping, I see escaping as, the numbing addictions, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, those kinds of things to numb ourselves. Oh, this is the beetle. In his work, he talks about the path of loving kindness. And in several of his writings, he talks about if you see a beetle upside down, don't just walk past it, don't step on it. Loving kindness, turn the beetle over so the beetle can go on its way. And I don't know why that just sticks with me. I saw when I was preparing this. I actually prepared this last summer, and I went outside and there was a beetle upside down, and it was like, okay, that fits. Okay, so then I go into the kinesiology testing, and it's used to act. He sees the body muscle testing as accessing the body's innate wisdom. So again, it's testing, testing muscle cord to various stimuli. I was talking to Bonnie yesterday, and we were talking about just going in the grocery store and does this food serve me? Yes, no. And a lot of people use this just for daily habits. And this is very similar to using a pendulum. Okay, and so the way he did it was one person would stand with their arm extended, and he used his wife. And then you can use it with another person. You just gently put pressure on the forearm and make a statement, a yes/no statement. And if it stays strong, it's congruent with higher consciousness. Okay, if it weakens, it's incongruent with the higher consciousness. There's a couple of different ways of doing it, and I don't know how to get out of this. You can use your fingers. So and just a yes/no answer, and just experiment with it. The sway test, if your body, you go neutral with your legs, with your legs hip, just standing, and ask a question, and if you go forward, it's a yes, or backwards, it's a no. There's a way to do it with your finger. And it requires practice. Got to be aligned to do it. Okay. And again, he says it's not a substitute. Applications using to calibrate levels of consciousness. When I learned about this, it was like, oh my goodness, if everybody learned this, we wouldn't have to have courts and juries. We could just use kinesiology to find out the truth. Yeah. And then I just did this one again. And again, that, below 100, the suffering, and contracted, and how, that's our survival level again. And then getting by and getting into the flow state where we have a more expanded level of consciousness. And then the enlightenment of the ultimate consciousness. I just like this. So that's it. See if I can stop screen sharing.
Great, Katrina. So now you're the teacher. You want to take us into meditation.
Okay, so I don't know how to get out of the screen sharing.
You just push. One moment, I'll do it for you.
Yep. Oh, there it is. Stop screen share. Okay.
And I'll stop mine and then.
Okay. One of the things I've gotten into lately, probably the last 4 years, I want to say, is memory reconsolidation. And that goes along with the come on, Katrina. I got to shift a little bit. That goes along with what Shlomo you were talking about is the neurons and the brain and the amygdala, which is the emotional part of our brain, and how when that's triggered, it blocks the
The
forebrain,
prefrontal cortex.
the frontal cortex. And I see it kind of as causing blockage in a hallway. Okay, so I use a with my clients, I use a whole process, and it's like an hour of education in this area, and getting to an agreement place where they're seeing how fear does not serve them, anger does not serve them, and an agreement to let it go. So it's a letting go process. And then I have 4 or 5 guided imagery exercises that I use to that are geared to override that part of the emotional part of the brain, to clear out the static that's blocking the emotional part from the cognitive part, the forebrain, prefrontal cortex. So what I would like to do is I want to do a guided meditation that's a variation of one of the ones I use. So it's going to be not exactly what I use, but it's going to give you the idea of the kinds of guided imageries that work for memory reconsolidation. And I think Shlomo's done some of those also in the way he does his meditations. So let's sit and put our feet on the ground. And when I do it with my clients, I do a long relaxation exercise before I do it. I'm not going to do that this time because we don't need everybody. Anyway, we're already relaxed. Okay, so take a nice deep breath from up above the head, down through the third eye, down through the throat and the heart, big belly down, and let go and breathe it down into the earth, and breathe the energy up from the earth through the heart chakra, out, breathing, exhaling. I'm sorry, God. Oh, how about a nice deep breath and that's what I need. Okay. All right, now I want to go into our hearts. So go into your heart and imagine that you're just in a nice, comfortable place in your heart. It's home where we're safe and at peace, and all is well. In this moment, all is well. We're safe, nothing to worry about. We can just let our thoughts go. And in front of us is a door. And we walk through that door and into a beautiful, beautiful garden. You can see the flowers. Maybe there's some birds, butterflies. You might smell the beautiful smell of the flowers. feel the nice fresh air. And there's a path. And we go along the path. There might be a little stream along the side. We walk along the path, and in front of us, there's a dumpster, this big dumpster. And across the dumpster is written transmutation. So what we'll do is go deep inside and imagine, maybe it's an experience, maybe it's a feeling, maybe it's fear, could be any one of those things. And just don't go into it. Just identify that that's something that you would like to let go of. And in this exercise, you have an ally. It might be something with energy. It can be a bird. It can be an animal. Maybe you have an animal guide. But that ally is going to help you with this exercise. So as you're connected with this ally, you go into where you feel that discomfort within your body, and you scoop it up and you throw it into that dumpster. You just throw it in, and your ally can help you with this. So just do it to the best of your ability. Just take that and just throw it in. And at your feet, there's a box, and it's gift wrapped with a bow on it. And this is something that your ally has gathered for you that you might not be aware of. You don't need to know what it is, but it's a feeling state. It's an experience that is time to let go of. And you also toss that into the dumpster. And now you walk around to the other side of the dumpster, and there's a big red button. And you push that button, and out of a chute on the side of the dumpster comes a compressed block, and it lands at your feet. And you take your hand and you just put it across the box. You just hold your hands in front of the box and you send beautiful energy into it. And all of that just turns into a beautiful, beautiful outpouring of beautiful light, like a fountain. You just see all these particles of light and rainbows and fluorescence, and all of that has just changed. All of what was in that dumpster has been transformed into beauty and joy, and you feel love just filling your body. And you walk through that fountain of beauty and energy and walk through to the other side. And you realize, I am new. I am free. I have let go of all of that. And here's where we can walk in and emerge in our new future. And just embrace that. Embrace the feeling of love and freedom. And then we're going to come back to we come back into our heart. We come back into our body. Take a nice slow breath. Take a nice deep breath. Breathe it into the ground. And again, we'll look at the floor, put our heads down, look at the floor, count to 5, and come back into our chair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and bring our eyes to the screen. I hope everybody feels the love. I still had that anxiety, so I didn't flow quite like I wanted to flow. Hmm. I love all of you. So thank you. And I don't have a whole lot more. Maybe somebody else would like to talk about some of it, or Bonnie, cool.
When you had us hover our hands over that compacted brick of what was left and visualize that rainbow of energy coming from that brick, it just exploded in front of me, all the colors until it was just beautiful, pure, bright white. And it just felt so free. If you had your eyes open, you might have seen me doing, full on starfish. It was beautiful.
Full-on
Thank you
starfish.
so much.
Yeah, maybe that would have been a good addition to it, to have the arms, to have that as part of it. Yeah, yeah. I've never done
The
that. I've never
receiving.
done this before. It was just sort of new for me. So, but yeah, I'm
So
glad you did.
beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have two questions about what you talked about. And first of all, I'm bowing. This was amazing. Amazing. I was wanting this so badly, and you clarified so much for me, and you did great. And the only thing I want to say in feedback is that when you shared that you had some fear and anxiety affecting your consciousness, I think just by sharing that you had it and saying out loud and noticing it keeps it from affecting your level of consciousness. I think when we stuff it, and you made me laugh out loud about your mother being the denial thingy, that was funny. But anyway, I think you stay in that higher level of consciousness just by mentioning it. But I had two questions that I'd like you to speak to. One was that you said that your higher power concept has expanded for you. I'd like that. And also the other question was, well, you talked about, it reminded me of the spiritual bypassing I just learned about a year ago when you talked about the spiritual ego. But it also made me think of what Shlomo's father, what Shlomo always says his father said to him about, don't be so humble, you're not so great, or something. Or my friend used to say, don't be so smart, you go all the way back around to stupid, or something. But
I think
yeah.
you just defined the spiritual ego. I think you answered your own question with that. Yeah,
Well,
I think that's the spiritual bypassing that you're referring to.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. But I wanted to know what you said about the concept of your higher power expanding for you, and also about the amygdala activation blocking the frontal lobe. And you're amazing.
So when I'll start with the amygdala, when that emotional part of our brain is triggered, that's where we get flooded with emotion. Okay, and you might think about a time when you've been triggered from a past trauma and you get flooded with maybe fear, okay, and then we get that fight, flight, or freeze, or there's a fourth one now, but where we're so flooded we can't think straight. Okay, where it blocks the ability to use a higher consciousness, a higher cognitive function, a higher thinking process, right? Because when we're flooded with emotion, I mean, think about somebody who's really angry, okay? Or you can think about your child. If your child is really angry, to try to reason with them, they're not going to, a really angry person can't reason because they're not in touch with that part of their brain. Does that make sense? So that's where I see static in that. Again, I like to use the visual of a hallway from the emotional part of the brain to to the thinking part of the brain, just to simplify it. And when that's got all sorts of static in it and it's not cleared out, then we can't think clearly. Makes sense? Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, that's clear.
Okay. Elizabeth wants to say something real quick. Yeah.
Yeah, just real quick, that is actually a chemical. So it's actually a chemical blocking
That's
the
right.
access, and what happens is that it can take anything from 20 minutes to 8 hours before that chemical leaves, and you will not have access to the prefrontal cortex until it's left, and there's no point in like talking about what happened until that is resolved. The only point in that window until it's resolved is regulation, grounding and regulation.
And that's accurate, and that's why I love heart math. Because heart math blocks that and then releases all the healthy chemicals. And that lasts for another that lasts for 6 hours also. So again, that comes to a choice point, right? Yeah. I'm going to choose love. Yeah. And then as far as higher power, when I got sober, I was in the depths. I mean, it was the depths. That's about all I can say. It was very much a survival level. Um, for me, it was hell. It was just awful. When I got sober, I had the belief system that God had condemned me, that I was destined for hell, that there was no hope for me, that and I, I that I was a terrible, awful, awful, awful person. And higher power for me was the hope and the trust and the prayer that there was redemption for me. I don't know how else to put it. And I mean, I'll just share one experience I had. I was in an AA meeting, and people used to talk about I had a burning bush event, which meant they had a spiritual awakening experience. And I remember I was sitting in that meeting, and I remember praying. I said, I want a burning bush event. And I left that meeting, and I was driving home, and I was on this sort of country road, and I came to a stop, and right in front of me was a tumbleweed that was on fire. And it was like, okay, yeah, that was my burning bush experience. Just, but things like that. But so my higher power was when I didn't know how to pray, really. I didn't know what to pray to, who to pray to. I didn't have a new concept of God as love. I mean, I was working on that, working on incorporating that God is love, that there is hope for me, there is. And so it was a way of aligning myself. So I would pray to my higher power, and that's just a concept that's used in, you know, in that in the 12-step program. Okay. But like I'm sorry, Bonnie, I keep referring back to you, but you know, Bonnie, that's the blessed higher self is, and so higher power has expanded to me to the whole universe, universal love. Um, all of the scripture I learned before I got sober that was hidden by, I feel like down at a survival level, it's a big cloud. It's not just a veil, it's a cloud. So any of the beauty of childhood, say, any of the teachings that we had of love, they're just kind of blocked until that's all cleared out. It's like clearing out the basement. I have a friend who's clearing out her basement, and it's kind of like, metaphoric for me. And now moving forward and healing all of this, it's like I'm having memories of love. It's not the memories of trauma that come up anymore. It's not the memories of uncomfortable, painful things that happen. I get memories of beauty. I get maybe scriptures that come that are beautiful scriptures that were blocked by all the trauma, by all the negativity. So that's how the expansion of higher power, my whole, just the forgiveness helps us to be aware of love. helps us to let go. And I think that's part of the reason I love this letting go process. Something comes up and it's like, oh, this is great because that means as I let it go, it's making more room for love. It's making more room for the light. And I know it's going to be even better once that dissipates. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Abby.
Hey, Katrina, that was such a full presentation. My mind is like really expanded with this. But I got stuck in one place, and it was the word courage. And the reason I got stuck is because we're talking about people elevating and shifting the energy of the planet by going above courage. And I thought of people that I know, and also like when you talked about pride. So I'm looking at all the things that go along with that. I took a screenshot so I can look at it. Um, so I'm thinking about people that I know that really are coming from pride, but they think they're really courageous because they go and do things that are dangerous. And so that word courage in our society, ha, for a lot of people, has taken on that meaning of doing things that other people won't do. But that's not really what it means, I don't think, in this chart, right?
In
In
this,
this chart, it's referring to personal responsibility and growth.
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. The courage to be honest with myself, the courage to do things differently. I guess again, with Shlomo's teaching, the courage to go into the unknown. The
Yeah. So
it
I
goes
think
to
also,
definitions. You're right. I do believe it goes to definitions, but I think the courage in this context is
yeah,
deeper.
I think what I'm hearing you say, it's not just going forward, it's also going back. The courage to look at your past and
Mm-hmm.
forgive yourself and clean it up,
Mm-hmm.
like reframe it or whatever you need to do to be able to move forward, whatever is holding you back. So I think in this context, maybe courage means that willingness to leave no stone unturned, forward or backward.
Mm-hmm. I I think I don't know. Maybe we forget at some point the courage it takes to really look at ourselves, to really focus on. I mean, I know with trauma, there's that avoidance of I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want to, you know,
Protection. Yeah.
yeah, the protective mode and the courage to face it. And maybe going forward isn't the right way to conceptualize it. I'm not sure. But when I say going forward, I mean going into freedom. Perhaps that makes more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like just being able to grow instead of being
Hmm.
stuck in the
Hmm.
past.
Hmm. Yeah.
So much to think about here. Thank you.
Yeah.
And feel, let go of.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a lot. Yeah. Isabel. Got to read what you wrote. Oh, you need to go. All right. Oh, I'm going to need to go also. I have an appointment in 4 minutes.
I
I don't know
think
if
we all should just
is Shlomo
duck out.
asleep?
Yes. We should
Bless
all
his
just
heart.
slip out.
Let's send him some energy
Yeah.
just before we get off. He said he was feeling fatigued and didn't sleep well, so send him some energy. Yeah. Thank all of you very, very much.
Thank you, Katrina.
Bye.